Oh, we're live. I was like, what am I?
We're just pausing so that way it's a nice visual for everyone to come to.
Happy holidays, everyone, and let me weave you a tale.
So excited.
2 or 3 months ago, Julia and I were like, oh my God, we're so on top of it. We're so great at calendar and we're so good at planning our show. And we looked up the holiday on the internet and we were like, thank God it's on Hulu. And then motherfucking Hulu took it off. Like literally within days of us needing to watch it.
Because I watched it November 3rd because I tried to watch it in October and they were like, this will be available to you November 3rd. So I came back.
So it was available for 2 weeks.
Like what?
And I need everyone to write Hulu on Twitter to be like, what's up with the holiday? Why can't we watch the holiday?
This is this is a classic from 2005. We need it.
Is it because Jack Black forgot he was in the holiday, so now none of us get to watch it? Like, I don't think Jack Black would want that for any of us.
Do you think it's because Jude Law is sad about his hairline?
Jude Law, are you sad about your hairline? I haven't checked in on that in a while. Should I do that live on the internet?
You didn't see him in the Mrs. Marvel or Captain Marvel? What is it called? The first one?
In the first one, yeah, but
he's in the first one with what's her face?
Yeah. Let's just Google Jude Law currently. Oh, Jude.
Yeah. His face is still very handsome.
You're very handsome, Jude, but that is rough. And it's only rough because of this part.
Yeah.
It's only rough because of the symmetry, but that's fine. So, Jude, if you're sad about that, I wish you a happy holiday.
I'll swap it. I'll swap homes with your sister.
Yeah. Yeah. And we'll snuggle up by the cozy fire. Okay, when I was looking up images for the Hating Game,
yeah,
I realized that it was a book to screen adaptation. Oh my gosh, look at you.
I haven't read it yet. I bought it. I bought it obviously not that long ago because it has soon to be a major motion picture. So I clearly bought it after they sold it to make it screen adaptation.
Okay. I think one of my notes is, oh God, we're going to have a lot of the same fights that we had for Love Actually.
What?
And they're all going to be the same fights that we had when young man Walking Dead told Keira Knightley, like, I've been mean to you the entire time because I love you. Everything. And I know. And everyone, like, we picked this movie because I had never seen it. And Julia was like, I watch it all the time. And I was like, yeah, okay, great. I love Lucy Hale. And then everything that man did made my body light on fire. I was just like anxious and stressed and like telling Lucy Hale, like, no, this isn't okay. Like, it's not okay. So I was really hoping that you would have read the book. Because I thought it was a lot like Red, White, and Royal Blue, where there was so much context that they were assuming that we knew.
Sure.
Because, like, number one, this movie has so much whiplash in it.
Well, and here's the thing. I think there's a lot missing, obviously, because there are scenes where I'm just like, wait, how did we get from there to there? Like, obviously, we're supposed to just assume, but there's clearly going to be something in the book that helped bridge that moment. Like, we don't get clarification on why the strawberry thing is just so light in the movie. And I'm like, that's got to be a big thing in the book, probably.
It's got to be a big thing. Also, she writes Smurf fan fiction, and I was like, you have to be fucking kidding me.
And they didn't even give us a lot of that either. It's like, why throw that in there if that's not a recurring joke throughout the entire film?
I need everyone to write in the comments whether or not there is for real Smurf fan fiction. I need everyone to link us to Smurfette. Number one, that's also a toxic environment because Smurfette is the only Smurf. So you know she's getting sexually harassed all day long. She is getting sexually harassed every cartoon.
Yes, I did think it was cute, though, when Lucy Hale's character, who's also named Lucy Hutton, leaves the grumpy Smurf on his desk.
Yeah, because he's grumpy and he's dangerous. I need everyone
Tell me why you think he's dangerous.
I will. Okay. Here it
Okay.
is.
She just looks at the camera. This is Natalie and her delusional friend Jules.
I need everyone to know that I used to think that Enemies to Lovers was really hot. I
I
used to
fucking
think,
love it, Natalie.
I know. I almost just asked you it in question form, and I was like, I already know the answer to this. And Julia loves it. And that's why she makes me watch The Hating Game and Love Actually. Like,
It's
and
true.
I too used to think that love Enemies to Lovers was really fucking hot until it happened to me.
Oh.
Until it happened to me. And then I realized, I was like, no, this is the most dangerous trope. This is the most dangerous trope because it's such a whiplash. Like what happens in the movie? This movie spans maybe 3 weeks.
3 or 4 weeks, yeah, because we get right before Thanksgiving to right before Christmas.
Yes. And so my whiplash of an enemies to lovers thing happened over the span of like a Halloween to a summer.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So that's like 6-ish months.
Yeah. Which I do wish things would be a little bit longer. That's why When Harry Met Sally is the greatest movie of all time, because they fall in love in 12 years versus 12 days.
Remember a couple of weeks ago when I liked When Harry Met Sally against all odds?
Against all odds. I'm so proud. I'm so happy because normally the movies
Julia swung for the fences and was like, we should watch The Hating Game. It's so cute and I love it. And I'm like, I'm game. And like literally the man stressed me out. Like I honestly, I was like, it'll ruin it for Julia if I just start filming my reactions to this movie.
Well, if we were originally allowed to do the holiday Hulu, we would be having a very different conversation. I am very proud of us for pulling a movie literally last minute.
Because here's the thing. I don't want to watch A Christmas Story, and I don't want to watch National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. I'm going to have to do that.
Some of my suggestions.
Like, I know that I'm already going to have to do that. And then I was like, well, do I want to watch The Grinch? He's kind of trendy right now. Like, somehow the Grinch has become a sexual icon, and I'd like to know when,
why,
and how.
I think 2018, maybe. Because there was the cartoon one. Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, and I was like, we're all aware that that's Jim Carrey, right? Like under the Grinch, like we've decided that Jim Carrey is the person who sexualized the Grinch.
Yeah,
all to be aware.
Yeah. Wait, should we explain what The Hating Game is about for our?
And you should do it because you'll do it in a very unbiased way.
Okay, here's the Wikipedia description of the film.
I'll just lift Penelope from the floor and clutch her.
Resolving to achieve professional success without compromising her ethics, Lucy embarks on a ruthless game of one-upmanship against cold and efficient nemesis Joshua, a rivalry that has complicated by her growing attraction to him. Here's the thing, though, too, that I think is missing. I think the book might actually be steamier than the film. Like, I think that's the point. I think the book is supposed to be like steamy.
So one of the I do think that this movie is badly written and badly adapted because
it's tropey. Like, it's got every trope. There's only one bed. He calls her a nickname that's rooted in something adorable, but he's mean about it. Like,
and also
they're competing for the same job.
Also, like, the first sentence that you read in the description was that she's one-upping him. They are in a competition. And I was like, oh, it's going to be petty. I'm in. I love when petty people fall in love.
Yeah.
And then, like, literally there's no one-upping. They stare at each other from across an office. And I was like, that should be illegal. It should be illegal that if you have to share an office with someone, you also have to face your desks at each other. I was like, it should be a corner situation or you face opposite walls. This should be illegal.
I love it. Well, and that also makes me kind of wonder too. So, like, the actor who plays Joshua, I find him to be very attractive. I also
Mhm.
found him to not be very good in this movie
No. Is
because
he good in other movies? Are
I
you
don't
gonna
know.
tell me you've seen him in other
I've never
movies?
seen him in anything else. I only know him from this film.
Okay.
And
Alright.
I really struggle because if it sounds like you're reading a script, I
Uh-huh.
can't hang.
Yeah.
But then they do the thing that suckers like me love, which is okay, so he's been reading his lines like he's reading for 10 minutes. Now let's put him
Uh-huh.
in something very, very tight. So it's a distraction.
Or he
Or
takes off
now,
his shirt.
or let him take off his shirt, or have him like manhandle Lucy's butt. So that way it's like, here's a sexy, steamy moment. Like,
This is why we hired him. Don't forget. This is why we hired him. We didn't hire him because we thought he was the next great actor.
no,
We hired him because look at this body.
because look at how big that hand is. It's going to be able to take a whole lot of you in it.
And let me tell you, like, the movie really did lean heavily on these are two very attractive people who want a bone. And I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm in, but you have to start delivering on the story that you're trying to
Because
piece
there wasn't
together.
enough of the steamy. Like when, and again, I haven't read the book yet, so I'm going to make it a priority to read it. Because I think, like with books like everything by Emily Henry that she's ever written, a Helen Hong, who else is another one that does a really good job, where it's like you get these really like sexually tense moments where you're just
and
like,
then no one has sex, and no
then
one
no one
makes out.
and you're just like, I just need to I need to cool down a little bit, but nothing,
two-
literally no penetration has happened. It's just the teasing and the leading up to, and we didn't get a lot of that in the movie. There was like a handful of things.
She wore a skirt and they ended up in an elevator alone together. And he's like, aha, my brain has been in love with you the entire time. And I'm like, what is happening?
Well, and that's the thing when they're in the elevator, which that was pretty steamy, but it could have been steamier, I feel like. But then when they're in the car and he's like, so should I just take you home? And she's like, no, I have a date. So it's like, how did we get to the point where he now thinks, because like they made out, but they're just like, we still hate each other. So like, help me understand how he's now like, oh, so we're going home now, and not
You
like,
tell me, because you watch this movie over and over and over again. And
I
I'm like,
don't pay attention.
damn
I
it.
don't watch it for its story, Natalie.
God damn it. I'm going to have to tell Julia once again that men like this are dangerous.
I watch it for the making out. I watch it for the your eyes are so pretty.
And let me tell you that
It's a step up from Hallmark, truly.
it truly is. And I also think that that's why The Holiday and a majority of what I'm convinced are like holiday rom-coms aren't streaming on streamers. And it's because Netflix, Hulu, Prime, they all make their own now. And by the way, I have a list of like cute ones that we will do on the show.
Yeah.
I love that New Year's Eve one with Julia Roberts' little niece, Emma Roberts.
Oh
Like, what's
yeah,
her
New
name?
Year's Eve is cute. Yeah.
No,
There's
not the
so
movie
many-
New Year's Eve. It's a made for Prime movie that's like centered around New Year's Eve, I think.
Oh, not the one that she's in where there's a wedding.
Yes, that one. Is that one
Oh.
called New Year's Eve?
No.
No, but that's the one I'm talking about.
Okay.
I loved it. I also loved Something from Tiffany's.
Oh, that one is
that
that
one was
one is so
adorable.
cute. And I love that guy because he is an insecure and I just love
It
him.
was so fucking adorable. But
Yeah.
this movie,
He's
Let's
also
go.
mixed.
let's go back to my dangerous
To your
from enemy
nemesis.
to lovers.
Mhm.
Okay.
Natalie's never gonna let me pick a movie again.
It's not your fault. You've been conditioned.
Conditioned. I have been, yeah.
So, my enemy to lovers did a lot of the same stuff. Like, I've been watching you the entire time. Your eyes are so pretty. I've always thought that you were the smartest woman in the room, and I fell for it.
Mm.
But then when Lucy Hale was like, "Oh, it's still all just part of the game," I was like, "Yes." Yes. It's still just all part of their sick little fucking game. Run away. Be very nice to that man in the coffee shop. Run away. And then at the end of the movie literally happens in 30 seconds. She walks by an office and a bunch of people are standing in there and he's like, I quit my job so you could have this job.
Took my name out of the running. But nobody told you because we needed you to keep that fire under your belly so you could work hard.
I hate everyone. I was like, this is not women supporting women. I don't know what her boss thought she was doing.
I actually really did hate that because she was like, you're just so fired up when you're competing with Josh, but he quit. So now what?
Also, the HR lady begged them to stop. The HR lady was like, all anyone can talk about is how you guys make this workplace environment hostile.
That's all you do. Literally every complaint is about the two of you.
Yeah. So what I'm saying, like, so many things were very, like, the wedding, when he takes her to the wedding, I was like, okay, this is cute. This is tropey. She tells off his dad. I'm like, okay, I can feel this. I can dig this. I still think that they're having sex too soon. And I still don't understand what payoff we're getting.
Well, and to add to the sex too soon part, like she even like shows up at his house and she's like, let's just do it and get it over with. And he's like, that's not really the vibe I'm into because I'm in love with you. But he doesn't say that part out loud. And then you're just like, it's a 2-hour movie and they spend the bulk of the time dragging us along to wrap it up in literally 3 minutes.
So then I can't remember what comes first. I can't remember what comes first. But at some point she snoops on his desk and she sees like serial killer writing.
Yeah, that's like, really creepy actually.
Hashtag S. Circle
check mark.
And she's like, what are these serial
why are you tic-tac-toeing in your book with letters?
I'm sorry, are you the Zodiac killer? What's going on in your day planner? And then he literally says something and I wrote, he's a serial killer, you have to run away. Because he says, I track what you're wearing and I make an X every time I want to kiss you. So I track every time you wear a tiny little skirt and I track every time you wear tight pants and then I track every time I have a boner and then I track every time that I want to kiss you in my little calendar at work. And I was like, he's gonna kill you. You have to run. It's like, this is insane. I literally said it out loud. I was like, he's not safe. I was like, Lucy Hale, this is just like when they made you date your teacher for 10 seasons of Pretty Little Liars. This man isn't safe.
He's so cute though.
Yeah. So
my toxic trait. Go ahead.
So we had the Zodiac killer moment, and I was like, then she goes to his place and she's wearing that dress from the wedding. And I thought
after the wedding
to like talk herself up in the mirror or something like, I'm strong, I'm independent.
Yeah, and really it's like I took the eye color of your eyes and made my walls the same color.
And then he's like, look, you blend right into the walls because
no one will ever know.
Because I'm tracking all of your outfits. I noticed that your eyes were green. So I painted my walls the exact fucking shade of green because I've been in love with you this whole time. And I'm like, he is not safe. You're not making it out there. I was like, did Julia give me everything I could ever want? And we're actually watching a Christmas horror movie because I love them.
Why would I do that? You know I can't sit through scary movies.
Like, my notes are unhinged. I'm like, he is not safe. He is, in fact, the Zodiac killer.
Okay, let me ask you this. If he was a better actor, you would probably feel the same way.
They had Walking Dead do it in Love Actually, and I kept telling you, I was like, Rick is not safe in this movie. And we know that Rick is a good actor.
Yeah.
So no. And then she hears him like talk shit about women or her with the boss or whatever.
She assumes it's her. We
never get clarification.
We never find out who they're actually talking about because we know her boss isn't wearing a push-up bra.
Right. Is it
She's
the
doing
poor
yoga in her
anxious girl?
office. Like she's like, I'm in workout clothes.
Is it that poor anxious girl who wanted a cupcake for her birthday? Like,
Is it the woman who never does her own job?
right.
Is
Who is it?
is it the goth girl they tried to hire? Which
I
they
can't
did
wait
end up hiring later.
Yeah, I can't wait for you to read the book and tell me. But we
We're
never
gonna have such a ragey conversation if the book will probably be better. Let's just be honest.
I hope.
I mean, me too, because I was like, gosh, I really wish I'd made the time. This has been literally sitting in my TBR for years.
Yeah. What if it's secretly a crime novel and it just has a cute cover because he's the Zodiac killer?
He's the Zodiac.
Julia, literally, like all of the warning bells. I was like, this isn't safe. I go, men can't just bring you to their house and they're like, do you like that wall?
This is after she's been to his house a couple times. Listen, there's that. Did you ever watch Felicity?
No, but
okay.
But I do know that a lot of those men on Felicity, not safe people.
So there's a scene, I think it's season 3, Tyra Banks is on the show for like a couple of episodes. And she is like paired against the Scott Foley, who plays Noel Crane. And so he is doing like tech support because he's like a nerdy guy. And so in doing tech support, he meets Tyra Banks. He like watches her put in her username and password for her school email. And so now he has her username and password and like logs in and looks at it to read emails because he's like desperate to date this woman, but knows nothing about her. So then he reads an email she sends to one of her friends and it's like, I just want a guy to say, insert something here about like, you know, let's just leave this place and go have sex or something to that effect.
Yeah.
So they're on a date. He says to her exactly what she wrote in the email to her friend because he read it.
Killer.
Because he read it. She takes her drink and like throws it in his face or hits him or something and storms out. Their next scene, it's not the immediate scene because there's other storylines happening, but their next scene together is her going, hey, listen, I'm real sorry about that because my friend reminded me that I just told her I really wanted somebody to say that to me and you did. So I responded badly. And I was like, I still don't think that's the way to handle that because there is a difference between fantasizing about like somebody saying something super sexy to you in public, somebody being like, I loved the color of your eyes, so I painted my wall so I could always be reminded of you.
I hated
that. That works in rom-coms. That works in romance novels, but it doesn't work in real life because to Natalie's point, it is very creepy in real life.
It's dangerous. It's dangerous. And number one, I thought you were going to tell me that Tyra Banks was so smart that she immediately connected the dots. I was like, he hacked my email.
No, she did not.
She didn't.
Sorry.
Because none of those men on Felicity were safe either. We have an entire episode about it on To All the Men I've tolerated before.
Well, I feel like Javier was the only one.
You know, I don't even know that one, so maybe. But
he was the gay best friend.
so after the serial killer tracking in his date planner, everything he said after that, I was like, that's love bombing. I go, everything about this feels like love bombing. And then when she tries to have a conversation with him about him saying shitty things about a woman, possibly her, then he combats her. And I was like, this is gaslighting. This is love bombing. Now he's telling you that he's been in love with you the entire time. That's why he gets to be mean to you. You're confused. And this is how they manipulate and gaslight you. He is the Zodiac killer. Like, you have to run away.
Well, and I think too, like for me, I know that it's not real, right? Like I've done a very good job at creating the line of this is how I want my rom-coms to be and my romance novels to be. This is not how I want real life to be. Even though I joke and I'm like, oh, I just want to live in a button-up rom-com because those things aren't creepy in a rom-com, but you translate them to real life and you're just like, I should probably lock my front door.
Listen, Jules wouldn't let us watch this movie. But when I was in middle school and or high school, I'm not going to look up the dates. I read all the Twilight books. Okay.
Oh.
I read them all.
I've seen one. It was enough.
I read all the Twilight books. Okay, I read them all. And why is that? Because my sister got to make her entire personality Harry Potter.
So
And
you
so
made your
I had
personality Twilight. I said Twilight.
Twitter. So I had to make my entire personality something, and the Hunger Games wasn't out yet. So it was Twilight. And it's because my mother thought that it would be appropriate for me to learn my sexual journey through Anne Rice, and you can see how that went. So
Wait, Anne Rice didn't write Twilight?
no, she didn't, but I think I read Interview with the Vampire and Mayfair Witches before I ever touched Twilight.
Got it. So
Because
it was like those books could walk so Twilight could run.
And I think I even like gaslit myself into being like, oh, the glittering in the sunlight thing, that's a really great workaround. Like, what a new take on vampires. Because vampires were my whole personality.
Yes, yes.
So imagine 13, 12-year-old me reading Twilight. And Edward Cullen says to Bella, it's like you're my own brand of heroine. And then 12-year-old Natalie orgasms. She comes. She's like, oh my God, I just can't wait for a man to tell me that I am his brand of heroine. And then you see it on
because
screen.
You didn't know that heroin was bad?
So in my codependent brain, I was like, yes, no, that's how much you want men to love you. You want them to be addicted to you. You want them to not be able to have enough of you. You want them to always have you be an arm's length away from you because they're addicted to you. So when he said that, I came.
It reaffirmed it.
It reaffirmed it. And then I went to the movie my freshman year of college, maybe my sophomore year. And I went with a friend who doesn't speak to me anymore. And this could be why.
Oh, shit.
And we're watching the fucking Twilight movie. And it's that part where like Bella walks across the fan and then Rob Pat literally vomits in his mouth. And I think that's why I can't find him attractive. I think that's why. Because she walks by the fan. And I remember the scene in the book about it being like, he was so taken by my son. And then it connects to that heroin line. The way that Rob Pat played it in the movie is she walks by, the fan blows through her hair, and he goes, and I laughed. And
because that's not sexy.
And I was the only person in the theater who laughed. And I kept laughing. So then by the time he got to you're my brand of hair, you're like my own personal brand of heroin, I was like, you have to be fucking kidding me. And then I never went and saw any of the rest of them in theaters. But one night we had the good cable. We had premium cable and it was raining. I was like, I'll give the second movie a shot. What the fuck am I doing?
Yeah.
And I got to the part where he cuts her motherfucking brakes because he's sick of her going to the reservation where Jacob lives.
Really toxic.
And I was like, that's toxic as hell. But 12-year-old Natalie came. She was like, yeah, cut her brakes.
That's in the book also?
Her. Yes.
Oh my God.
So that's why
like mouth vomiting to me is like not sexy at all. Like that is not gonna get me to like you're supposed to find me so hot and my scent so hot that you're mouth vomiting. Like no. That to me says that he's repulsed by her.
Yes, and that's why I started laughing. I was like, you have got to be fucking kidding me.
Do we actually need to do a close read of the Twilight series, both the books and the movie?
Should I just read them out loud on the internet live so we don't get copyright infringement?
Because I've never read the books, but I heard they're not I heard that like the structure and like the syntax and all these things isn't great.
No.
And I've watched the movie, and I still am mad about it, but I've managed to like black out everything about it.
You know how that series closes out, don't you?
Don't they all die?
No.
I just assumed.
Edward and Bella have a baby named Renesmee.
Oh, right. Because I just saw a thing on TikTok about how like people are like, oh, you know, Suki Waterhouse and Rob Pat are having a baby. So now that clip is like resurfacing because they're like, oh, keep it away from Taylor Lautner.
Yes.
So I don't
Because
have context because I've never seen the movie.
Oh, okay. So let me give you context. I don't know if you know much about werewolf folklore, but they do have something like little ducks called imprinting, where a werewolf will run into another werewolf from another pack and be like, you are my mate. You are my mate for life. We are soul connected. Twin flames, if you will.
Sure.
It happens to Taylor Lautner's character, Jacob, the werewolf, to the baby.
What?
The baby. And that's how they justify him being attracted to Bella the entire time, but not being her soulmate. He was attracted to her little egg in her uterus, her little unfertilized egg.
Here's the thing. As I embark on the dissection, the forensics, if you will, of the last 10 years of my life, wondering why I'm still a failure.
Mm-hmm.
And when you tell me things like this, and this woman has sold millions upon millions of copies of this book, and I still can't catch a fucking break in any of the creative endeavors I have taken.
Also, so that they go, wait a minute, Jacob, what? You're attracted to a baby? That's not great. That's not good. You never want to be out with your bros and hear him go, you see that toddler over there? No, it's bad. So
I don't even want to be out with my bros and hear them say, see that 24-year-old? Because everybody in my life is over 35 and in their 40s. Okay. Like, no, I don't see that 24-year-old. What I see is you're too old for her.
I need Taylor Lautner to know that I love him, and this was a crime that was done to him too.
He's such a little cutie patootie. I love watching him on late night TV.
I love watching him. I cried when he showed up at the Eras tour. I cried when he did his like front tuck or like
yeah. Showing up at the Eras tour was such a boss move. Was such a classic move. Like that. He like that's a stand-up guy.
He's not my ex, but I picture him every time I sing Back to December. Yeah, and Back to December is my favorite Speak Now track.
Yeah.
It goes hard. And so to try and justify it because they're like, Jacob, that's not great. You shouldn't be. That's an infant.
That's a literal baby.
Stop it.
So creepy.
He gets like all Taylor Lautner puffed up. And he's like, it's not like that. It's not like that when they're little. He's like, because grown-ups imprint on children all the time. And what ends up happening is like you're their really good cousin brother, and then you get to fuck them when they're older. And I'm like, it's still bad because now we know about grooming.
Maybe I don't want to do it.
It was written down in print, everybody. We know. You had to type it out. You had to type it out and then read it out loud and then send it to an editor. And then an editor went, bet, and printed the book, and it sold millions. And these types of men are dangerous.
So I just feel like also it's very telling about where we were in the world at the time of its release.
So these men are dangerous. And here's the thing, they could
varying degrees, because I feel like there is a little bit less danger with I painted the wall the color of your eyes versus I'm attracted to the egg in your fucking uterus.
And yet my body has the same fear response, and that's my right as an American woman.
Absolutely it is. You are 100% correct.
So and I do think that they could have made me sold on this if they had removed the Zodiac killer parts, if they didn't have him like tracking her, if they didn't have him.
Today she's wearing a very tiny skirt with no panties.
Tiny skirt, and I had 3 boners, and I wanted to kiss her 5 times. I hate it. What are you doing with that data? Run away.
He's gonna make a presentation at the end of the year. He's got PowerPoint. He unlocked the layers of PowerPoint that no one else understands.
It's
so
full
he
of
can
dick
do.
pics.
So he can do a whole presentation on why he and Lucy need to date. Oh, Mario, hello.
Hi, Mario. It's just him in New York and Company or J.C. Penney's like work slacks. But he's clearly hard, and it's like that's the watermark on all the slides. Like,
well,
it's not
she
a
does
full
it
picture,
too, though, because she's
blended
like
in.
Cornflower blue, true blue, white, gray, window pane. That's not the order she says it in, but she does it too.
Well, yeah, because he only wears like differing shades of charcoal.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, so if they
and then she's like, and then when she's delirious with the fever, she's like, gray, window pane, true white, cornflower, true blue, and he's like, huh?
eh? And honestly, it's all because of how that office is set up. And I would like to go back to my original statement where if you have to share an office with someone, it should be illegal for them to set up your desks to where you're just staring at one another.
Yeah, I don't want my back to any entry points though. You know what I mean?
Then Julia, you have to fight for the death for that positioning or whatever. But to like, that was Zodiac killer behavior to have to sit every day at work and stare across and make eye contact with someone else who is just trying to mind their own business.
Right?
Oh, it's Krampus Day. I should have made you watch Krampus. My favorite Christmas deity.
I would have died probably. I mean,
anyways,
you
they
know.
could have they could have won me back if they had taken out like the serial killer moments where he tracked her outfits and painted his home the exact shade of her eyes.
His bedroom. I feel like that distinction makes a big difference.
He's just whacking it off to her eye color.
He's like, I need her as close to me as possible, so it's going to be my bedroom. Can't be the kitchen.
And you know he's pressed himself against that wall. You know he's licked that wall. You know that there's been like a soft cry.
I can't believe you right now.
You know there's been a soft cry. He's masturbated on that wall. He had to scrub that wall before he invited her over.
Do you want me to read you the back of the book?
Hold on, I have a point.
Sorry.
And we're just not getting to it.
Sorry.
And if they had actually done the tit for tat thing to where I saw them interact and I saw them start to realize that the reason why they're so annoyed with one another is because they're the same person.
Yeah.
And they're attracted to one another. And whatever she doesn't have, he has, and all of it. Then I would have been sold on the love story at the end. And I would be like, oh, good. He quit his job and now no one has to worry about workplace sexual harassment.
No, but you're right.
Instead, it was full of serial killer bullshit.
Well, because the point where like the build up to the point to where we get to the elevator wasn't enough for us to understand that they are the same, because they work so hard to show their differences, right? Like his space is gray, clean, sleek, not cluttered. Her space is like super cozy, totally what we think a book person's space looks like, right? And then they don't do enough to show us their similarities in any way, shape, or form.
They also go from charcoal gray to 50 Shades of Gray within a moment with one mini skirt. All of a sudden, she's a dominatrix. And she's like, I wore this and I don't have panties. And I was like, who says that out loud in your office?
Right. Like that also was like a moment where I'm just like, I
was like, this has never been the vibe. This has never been the vibe in this office. And now all of a sudden you're telling him that you don't wear panties and you're teasing him and you're flapping in the wind.
Yeah.
And I'm confused. And he's painted his bedroom your eye color. And I cannot and I will not. This man is dangerous.
Yeah. And to also continue to add on to that, there isn't any sort of like, oh God, I lost my train.
Also, I don't like either one of them. That is a note in my outline. I was like, I don't like either one of them. I want her to run away from him because I do find him dangerous, but I also don't like her. Because she's also kind of just shitty and petty and then wants to use him as like a vibrator, but But then I also thought that him
She's not
whining.
petty in a fun way, because petty can be fun. There's petty, there's fun petty, and then there's petty where you're just like, this is really scary and harmful.
Well, and then every time he would whine because she was playing the game that he set forward through years of them being shitty to one another, I was like, why the fuck are you whining? You've never written in a fucking company Christmas card and left it on her desk. I'm in love with you. It's you. I painted my bedroom wall your eye color.
Or like the flowers the next day, and she assumes it's Danny because the handwritten flower, and like, and then he doesn't correct her when she's like, "Oh, Danny sent me flowers," and he's like, and you're just like, "That's." Yeah, it's like, yeah, there were a lot of opportunities to sort of build more of that, like planting more of those seeds of like, hey, it was me.
Because
like, hey, I do like you. Because it is kind of out of the blue.
Yeah, and the thing that like makes my body feel like I'm being bitten by fire ants throughout every time that man talks is because like it's one of those things where it's never enough, but you're also doing too much. And that's another way to gaslight you, where it's like, I didn't want you to show up at my place. Why are you here?
Yeah.
And then you leave, and then he texts you the next day, I can't believe that you left. It's never enough, but it's also always too much.
Yeah. There's another scene too, and it's quick because this time I actually noticed it. And you know, I've seen this movie a billion times.
Yeah.
And it only came out in 2021. That tells you the state of my life. Where she's doing something and the camera cuts to him and he's looking at her and his face is soft and kind of filled with love, but it's quick. And so I noticed it this time and I was like, that's still not enough to signal to the audience that he loves her.
Yeah. No, it is a badly done movie. To the point,
I'm still going to watch it.
I love Lucy Hale. I've always loved Lucy Hale. I think she's adorable. Maybe she was the best Pretty Little Liar. I
remember what I was going to say before. Go ahead.
But in no way, shape, or form should you ever be watching a movie and go, wow, Lucy Hale is acting circles around these motherfuckers.
Right.
And I'm like,
and she really, I mean, she's the best part of that movie. Yeah, because again, like I said before, it feels like he's reading a script. There's the erotic dream scene also kind of fell out of the blue because there wasn't any sexual tension in their fight. To me, it didn't have the sexual tension in the fight to signal for her to have that sort of like steamy dream about him later.
Well, and also they didn't build up enough of a like biting banter between the two of them to where I understood why she told him about the steamy dream to begin with. Yeah. Because I do know that like sometimes your dreams be wild when you're angry or frustrated or whatever, and your brain's trying to like let go of some of that. But then for her to just be like, yeah, I had a sex dream about my coworker. What do you want? And I'm like, why would you even tell him? Like,
right.
Nothing about that made sense.
The other kind of super tropey thing was the way they presented Danny.
Yeah. I was really hoping that he won it at the end of the day. I was like, this nice boy who isn't stalking you.
And has been in love with her since the day one. But like the way that they style him, the way that they have him present himself, and I'm like, is Danny like that in the book? Because like he's really great on paper.
Yeah. Yeah, and then all of the incels have a leg to stand on where they're like, women don't like good guys. They like guys who hate them. And it's like, well, it's because secretly the good guys hate us too. The nice guy hates us too. Like, I don't know. But yeah, the moment when he's like, I track you, I have a chart in my day planner. And I track
your outfit. That's it. That's it for you.
It's my nightmare. It is my nightmare. Also, you know that my new rule is if you meet your partner's dad and that man feels entitled and privileged to be awful, to hit on you, to be mean to your partner's wife in front of you or whatever, and you look at your male partner and you can see that he's bothered by that, but he's never worked through it, you have to run away. You have to run away because you're next. Like, you're next.
Well, and men aren't really taught to work throughout their emotions. They have to be dependent on women. And that's not me saying it as a justification. That's just me stating like men are dependent on women to process their emotions for them. And that's the problem.
Yeah. You have to be like that wedding would have made me go, and I have to go home, and I would have never seen the green bedroom, and I would have gotten to live my life not having my entire I was like,
Natalie, you wouldn't have fallen in love with him if you hadn't seen the green bedroom.
It bothered me so much. I was like, you have to run away. You have to run away. I was like, you have to leave.
Why isn't she running away? Because he's a foot taller than her. She takes 3 steps in the way that he takes half a step.
Right. I was like, oh my God, she's dead. She's dead.
She's so little compared to him. Like she's a solid foot. She's a solid foot shorter.
I'm making a lot of jokes, but this is how we talk about serial killers. Like, he was always nice, and he had a puppy around, and he named that puppy after her, and then all of a sudden she was dead. And so was the puppy, and then he got another puppy to name after the next victim, and we never caught on.
It's like in the episode of Full House where that woman that Jesse used to date, but Danny's now dating, has a puppy that she named Jesse.
Uh-huh. Yeah, I'm like, run away. You have to run away.
You have to run away.
Because, like, honestly, I was like, that's going to be evidence in a CSI episode. They're going to be like, we found a day planner where he was literally tracking her entire wardrobe and marking boners. and I'd be like, yes, sir, please arrest him. Dangerous. You should have seen me because, like, I put down my Switch. I put down my phone. I just gave myself over to the panic. I was like, this doesn't feel good. I go, this feels like love bombing. This feels like manipulation. This feels like gaslighting. He's hot. He's cold. He screams at her because she's trying to play by the new rules. But he's like, no, I want the rules from 3 days ago. And I'm like, and it all happened in a 3-week span. And I was like, you have to run away. I was like, was his bedroom always that color green? You have to run away.
Run quickly.
You have to. You have to. And I have to believe that in the book there's more context and Hulu just went, nah. I have to believe. Because there were also parts of Red, White, and Royal Blue. I loved Red, White, and Royal Blue.
So cute.
But the entire time I was like, this is moving too quickly.
Yeah.
One of them is coming off as predatory because of how quickly this is moving.
Yeah, yeah.
And they've never had conversations before, and now you're inside someone, and I don't understand. And there has to be more context in this book, and I should really read this book because I am enamored by these two. And I haven't read the book yet. That's on me.
I have 2 copies, actually. One's a collector's edition, and one is the one that I read.
Well,
the collector's edition has an extra extra chapter. It's so good.
I hear on one of the days that I'm visiting, the reading salon is happening. So we go.
It's true.
But in this book, I couldn't get past it. I was like, no, he's too volatile. And we have
but they have him painted to not be. So it's like you're pointing out, it's volatile in disguise because he is pretty even throughout the entire movie until she's like, hey, let's just bang it out and get it over with. And he's like, and get the fuck out of my house.
Right. Now I'm insecure, baby. And I've been to therapy. So I've seen the feelings wheel where every feeling is just a secret feeling in disguise. I've seen it. They used it on Married at First Sight that I binged over the weekend.
Oh, I love that. Yeah, we should always talk about our feelings.
We should always talk about our feelings.
Vulnerability should not be weaponized.
So then when we saw his dad, I was like, oh, he has all of the same anger issues as his dad.
Because his dad really is a villain.
Yeah.
Truly. Yeah.
And I was like, they just present as sad boy bullshit.
Right.
And sad boys get a break because they're sad. and we're upset that they're sad. And I'm like, I'm not upset that he's sad. I am still very much afraid of this man.
Yeah, and his dad's like, "Isn't my first son like the most amazing and brilliant? And look at how fantastic and gorgeous he is.
And
And
I was
isn't
like,
my
that's
second
weird.
son like the most disappointing thing in the entire world?"
And again, I was like, we know when our families feel that way about us, but no one says it out loud at a wedding. However, I was at my aunt's house during college, and it was probably during a holiday. And my mother's cousin asked me how school was going. And I was like, well, Bubs, I actually made honor roll or dean's list or whatever the fuck I had made. And Bubs was like, oh my God, that's so great, Natalie. You're like champion of our lives. Like, he's my Uncle Choki's son. So they love me in a way that will never be replicated.
Yeah.
And And one of my parents, and we'll all just guess which one, went, yeah, you think she could have pulled off those grades the last few years in high school so I didn't have to shell out as much money for college? And I was just like, I'm just going to go kill myself. Like, I'll just go drown myself
It's
in the
such an
toilet.
unnecessary comment
It's
because it's
such an
like
unnecessary comment. The same cousin. So I was a late in life driver because driving is anxiety inducing.
I
And
also was a late in life driver because it is expensive.
yes. And my first big trauma was my grandma dying of cancer when I was 15 going on 16.
Mm.
So every time I was practicing driving, it was always like we were either talking about grandma or someone was like, or an uncle was trying to help me or whatever. Or sometimes I think maybe like if we were on a country road, my mom would let me drive to practice or whatever. And I hated it.
Mhm.
And after my grandma died, that was my like first brush with like, oh, this will be the depression that I struggle with for the rest of my life until I'm medicated. And then I'll just like kind of struggle.
Yeah,
I'll just
yeah.
get like the little mind sprints. And so I never wanted to practice. Driving freaks me out. One of the very first times that I made a mistake during driving, I ended up in a ditch and I was basically told, you got yourself in the ditch, get yourself out of the ditch. And I got out of the car and I was like, I know where home is and I'll just walk there because don't see me needing help and then tell me to figure it out. I'm
Like
crying. I'm worried that I've
wow.
ruined the car. Like, so I was a late in life driver. Same cousin is also telling me that maybe one of his kids or maybe one of my other cousins was a late in life driver. And before I can even say like it's just because it makes me, and I think I did say, I go, it just makes me really stressed out and nervous
Mhm.
and I don't like doing it. Uh so my feelings are spoken out and same parent goes, yeah, she thinks she like it was something along the lines of smartest kid in the world but can't learn how to drive. I
Mm.
was like, and now for the rest of my life, my family thinks that I'm a bad driver. Whenever I show up anywhere safely, they're like, "Oh my god, you really did that." I
Oh
was like,
my
"I didn't even kill anyone
god.
on the way here." Like,
And it's
yeah,
not like you have evidence showing that you're a bad driver.
yeah.
Like my dad called my sister Crash because in the period of like a year, she had like 3 or 4 car accidents.
I have damaged 2 cars. I have backed
Mhm.
into a car not paying attention, and I have damaged my own car trying to get out of a parking garage because when you have ADHD, you have spatial awareness issues.
Right.
Also, cars aren't designed for women's eye lines.
Right.
So I just let a giant ass traffic cone that they use to like block the entrance of the parking garage when it's closed. I just let it like run through my car. And I'll just think about that when I get home.
Yeah.
Oh, also when snowpocalypse happened, the only way to get my car out was to just like let the snowdrift take part of like a cosmetic part of the vehicle. I was like, "Yep." Like because again, I don't care what the car looks like. I have places
Yeah.
to be.
I'm the
have
same,
things
like,
to do.
I literally don't care what my car looks like. People will be
Yeah.
like, "You need to get a car wash." I'm like, "Do I? Would you
Mhm.
like to take it through the car wash for me?" Because
Yeah, like
it is not that it's stressful, but it's like the line is always so long. I'm not waiting for 30 minutes. It's not an effective use of my time.
the car wash is stressful. When is my car ever in neutral? And, like, I don't know when to hook it onto the thing. I don't know how the car wash works.
Well, and I can't take Josephine through it with me because she does like legitimately freak out. And if I go into the car to do something that isn't like going to the grocery store, like where I can just stay in the car to run my errands, I take her with me.
Yeah.
And I'm
True.
missing hubcaps. And my family members are like, well, we can get you hubcaps. I'm like, no, because every time they rotate my tires, the hubcaps go flying off within days.
And that's scary. So, anyways, what we've learned here, ladies and gentlemen, girls, gays, and theys,
That's who we're here for.
is should you ever walk into a man's home and he'll be like, "Do you like the way that I redecorated?" And you'll be like, "Oh, did you redecorate?" And he'd be like, "Yeah, I painted the kitchen the exact red of your favorite scarf." You have to run away. If you're not dating that man, if you're not married to that man, if that man has not been anything but mean to you, and then all of a sudden he's like, "That's the color of your eyes, though," you have to run away.
You have to leave. It is
Because
imperative. Your
men like
safety is dependent on it.
men like this have to be stopped. Like, the tease like, there's lighthearted banter and there's lighthearted teasing, but he was, like, legitimately shitty to her.
Yeah, I dated a guy who, man, he was cute. Oh, it was so hot. And he was very, very, very good, fun to look at. And making out with him was real nice. But he loved to do the mean banter
Mm-mm.
and like the picking on. And I know being a child of people who do that, it turns into bitterness and resentment. And I was like, I don't want that. I'm sorry, I have to break up with you. Like, this is over. And we had some pretty good chemistry. Like, it's insane. I've never had like that. That was some pretty intense chemistry I've ever experienced. And he was like, I can't believe you're going to walk away from this because in 20 years, you don't want us to hate each other or some shit like that. And I was like, yeah.
Yeah, sorry your personality sucks.
I
Wait,
just don't want to be like teased like that every day, all day. Like, it's
yeah.
exhausting.
When some of my younger cousins went to college and they thought that freshman week, the week where you make all of your lifelong friends for college and you have theme days and whatever, was
Mhm.
bullshit and they didn't want to go. An adult in my life was like, maybe we really should have shielded you kids from the sarcasm because you guys like literally think everything is bullshit. I go, no, like my first instinct is this is bullshit. And I've had to like rewrite that code and
Yeah.
learn how to enjoy things.
Same. I mean, I think I told you offline. I was like, I think that I am the problem because the whole time I was participating in something, I was just heckling in my head. And I was like, you know what?
Yeah.
You need to stop. It's
You need to
fine. Like, there's no reason to be heckling. Why are you heckling?
And I was like, Jules is gonna once again share a movie with me that's important to her, and she probably read the fucking book.
It's not that important to me. He's
And
hot.
and then I'm gonna have
End
to
of
be like,
story.
Julia, men are dangerous.
I feel like you're always having to tell me this though. Like,
Well, stop
this,
making me like, I didn't have a panic attack when Steve Buscemi was shooting a gun in space and had space dementia. I was like, Steve Buscemi, you quit it.
well, it's not like he was trying to like convince like the lady scientist to marry him.
Right. It's just he just saw a robot. It was like, I will play with that robot.
Like, I just feel like okay, here's the thing, Natalie. I apologize.
He was also so bad at acting.
Yeah.
So that also made me mad. I was like, you're not even good at manipulating.
You're not even good at this. I do wonder though if that's who he is all the time. Like, I made a comment to somebody. I said, I really want to see Anyone But You, but I'm really disappointed because I don't think Sydney Sweeney is a very good actress.
I'm obsessed with Sydney Sweeney.
Controversial opinion. That's literally what I said. I said, controversial opinion. I don't think Sydney Sweeney is a good actress. And literally 10 people were in my DMs and they're like, she's not. And I was like, okay. I was like, okay, I don't know. She keeps getting hired. She's fucking gorgeous. And
You know what it is? This is why I'm obsessed with her. The new trend is to be serving a lot of cunt at all times. And
yeah.
Sydney Sweeney serves cunt just by like glancing at you. And you're like, I don't know what I did, but I'm sorry. Like, I don't know.
So maybe she should invest in doing pantomime instead, because like I watched the trailer of that movie and I'm like, oh, Glenn Powell saves this movie because he's like so invested in being that guy. And then it sounds like she's reading a script.
See, I think she's so good in Euphoria for whatever reason.
I've watched the first half. I'm like 2 episodes from being done with season 1, but like taking in season 1 in a binging manner was so much that I'm still like, it's a lot for me. You know, my emotions.
It's a lot.
Anyway.
Yeah, the way that you feel when watching Euphoria is how I felt while watching that man try to convince Lucy Hale that he was in love with her and that everything was fine. Well, everything is not fine.
I will read the book and report back.
Yeah, I mean, as we know, we don't have to redeem men to Natalie. They can just remain dangerous. And
but I'm still curious because there's gotta be stuff that was deleted that they were like, oh, that doesn't matter. But then you're like, no, but then my neck hurts from whiplash.
Right. I need the author to weigh in. I need the author to be like, yes, they did ruin my book. Like they did a hack job.
Authors would never.
I know, because you make a lot of money once your movie gets adapted.
Yeah, I wish they would, but they would never. And truly
they pretend
wish
to
would.
Give you like producing credits and writing credits, like oh, they were involved, wink,
but they're
wink.
not. It's name only. It's so. But I did learn from doing our Heartstopper episode, the gal who wrote the graphic novels, or the person who wrote the graphic novels, wrote the scripts.
Good for her. Alice Oseman?
Yeah.
Osman.
Mm-hmm.
You know who you are. I'm fucking obsessed with you. I don't remember who it was. Yes, I do. It was my friend Deanna. No. It was someone else that I was just out to dinner or lunch with.
Because you're popular.
Because I'm so popular. I have too many friends to keep track of. But anyways, someone
just all over my face.
Someone somewhere backed me up on how Nick should have been a big dumb oaf the entire time. Someone backed me up, and I was like, I will die on this hill.
I will die on this hill. And if you don't know what we're talking about, you need to go to the Jelly Pops Book Club, wherever you find your podcasts, and listen to the Heartstopper episode.
Like, that Sweet Baby Angel did a fine job, and like that show should be winning awards, but I deserved a Heartstopper. Oh, maybe it was Sam. I deserved a Heartstopper where Nick was a big dumbass oaf the entire time, because it's part of the story.
Yeah.
It's part of the charm.
I can't wait for volume 5 to release. I'm so excited.
But anyways,
that's what I should have told people I wanted for Christmas, and then I would have gotten 16 copies.
We've run a little long.
Whoopsie, because we haven't done one in a while.
I hope we actually talked about the movie. I think I just went into, so I had a panic attack.
No, I think we did talk about the movie, and you know what? I think we did a great job at analyzing it.
Yeah. Yeah, let's write a thesis based on this conversation alone. Like, if someone wants to get their PhD off of what I have to say, you let me know. But that type of man be dangerous, and I'm so tired. I've also, not personally, but I have been getting a lot of information lately via Married at First Sight and the personal people in my lives about men who have duped and used like love bombing and gaslighting and telling you that everything's okay and it's all a big dupe. So maybe it wasn't the Christmas to watch the hating game.
I mean, that also could be real and true. I always worry about like that kind of stuff because I am a skeptic when I know I'm like, oh, I love love and love is my favorite thing and I want my life to be a bottled up rom-com, but there is a graveyard of men who will tell you how hard it was to break through this brick wall, cement wall.
And if you're out there wondering, why, Natalie, what was the last rom-com that made you squishy on the inside and in your pants. It wasn't a rom-com, it was a dark comedy, and it was Saltburn.
Saltburn's so good.
I was fucking raring to go the entire time of Saltburn. I was like, this is dark. This is fucking weird.
I was talking with a friend about it because Jacob Elordi is going to be the new whatever for Twilight.
Edward.
And my friend who I was talking to about this loves Twilight. It's her Roman Empire.
Yeah.
And so she was like, I just don't see it from the pictures. I was like, ma'am, go see Saltburn. Because
Saltburn.
Emerald Fennell gives us the thirst traps of that young man. And I had to confirm that he is of legal age because the thirst traps of that young man were so good.
Saltburn was so weird. And the entire time I was like, ooh.
Yeah.
I just can't wait to be home. So thanks, Emerald.
I bet somebody has. I was like, somebody needs to put a montage together of just those thirst traps because wow, like the way she captures him, just like looking at the camera, like we're watching him through Oliver's eyes. Oh, so good.
What I love the most about Emerald Fennell is that on Called the Midwife, she plays the most beautiful, put together, like no nonsense, gets everything right, gets everything done midwife that show's ever seen.
Yeah.
And then she's a cold cock weirdo. She's a lady in the streets, but a freak in the sheets. And I'm like, I see you, Emerald. And
do you think it's because she played Camilla Parker Bowles on The Crown that just like unlocked it for her?
And she had to have some guy who was trying to convince us that King Charles was ever good looking gaslight her into believing that telling her that he wanted to be her tampon was a sexy come on.
Such the weirdest. The fact that he could overcome that is insane to me.
I want to be your tampon because that's how much I want to be inside you right now. That is, I painted my walls green because your eyes are the color green.
Yeah.
That's totally all we have to say.
Yeah. Maybe it's time we wrap it up now because we can't top that.
Julia, tell everyone where they can find you.
Friends, I'm on the gram and the TikTok, the Julia Washington. I am there crying about not being able to turn on my heat because I can't afford it. This week, I am your host of Pop Culture Makes Me Jealous, where we analyze pop culture through the lens of race or gender and sometimes both. This week, we released an episode about The Tudors featuring Natalie Katona and our friend Elrinthia Carter. And we get into it, homie. Like we get some pretty deep analysis. We deserve a degree for the amount of work we've done for that episode. Also over on Jelly Pop's book club, which has suffered because I was busy in November trying to make my business successful. We're talking about The Last Unicorn with Jackie Hayes, and that drops, I think, on Friday. And this is our last
Still comfy
for the year. And yes, I am still comfy with this movie. And yes, I will continue to watch it every winter. Sorry, Natalie.
I had a panic attack. All of the alarms in my body were like, this man is bad. We have been here before.
Yes. But tell everybody what's up in Men I've Tolerated Pod's world this week.
So To All the Men I've Tolerated Before is on its holiday break. So on our main feed, you will be seeing audio versions of Still Comfy. So for those of you who are like, YouTube won't get it together and make it play on my phone while I do other things, I hear you. I put it on the feed. So this week is A Knight's Tale, where I try to write a music live on the internet.
I love that. That was a great episode, I think we did. They're all great episodes.
I would like to take a moment to plug both of our Patreons, because over on the To All the Men I've Tolerated Before Patreon, we're going to start moving a lot of free content over there. And then we're starting a new series for our highest tier Patreon members, which is called The Misogyny Meltdown, where let me tell you, I really hold it together on when I'm live on the internet and live on a mic with a person, believe it or not. This is me being like, "You're a professional.
You're a professional.
You're a public figure.
You can do this.
People are gonna hire you." So, the misogyny meltdown will be where I lose my mind, and it will take a different form every time I release something for that series. So currently it's free for everyone and it's the Misogynist of the Year award, and voting is currently open for what pop culture icon was the biggest asshole this year. Right now, the top contenders are Justin Timberlake, the entire Spears family, and Dax Shepard. They are followed closely by Darius Jackson and Tom Sandoval and Cody Brown. And Chris Pratt and Joe Jonas, you two are big enough losers that no one's even voting for you.
Because it's just expected at this point.
Right, because people are like, I don't even know what they did this go around.
Like, they're just in there forever.
So that's all happening on Patreon. It's free. It's a free app. It's a free follow. It's just another social media platform. I don't know about everyone else, but my Instagram has been glitching like fuck all this month. And Patreon don't do me like that. And you're going to want to watch both of our Patreons coming up, because this week and this week only, starting on Sunday, Julia and I will be in several rooms together in physical proximity of one another.
Yes, we're going to be making a lot of content. You don't even know how to hang.
And there will be other guest roles coming in on our content, because we are seeing a lot of our tried and true favorite people that we've met through podcasting and other people's content. And
yeah, I'm so excited. I can't believe it's already like, it's gonna be like, I'm so excited.
Sunday, that's when I fly out. So everyone, remember out there for this holiday season, if one day he's painting his room the color of your eyes, and the next day, he's calling you a dirty little twit in a push-up bra, but then also telling you that that was fine and he's super sexy, that's gaslighting. That
he
isn't
wasn't
love.
Talking about her.
We don't know who he was talking about. They didn't tell us.
I bet they tell us in the book.
I am assuming that he was just going along with whatever his boss said and maybe secretly recording him, but we never know. We don't know. They don't.
Yeah, New York. You don't have. It's not. You don't have to have consent from the other person to record them.
So maybe he was doing that. We don't know. Julia's going to read the book. I can't deal with another panic attack. But most importantly, stay cozy, stay comfy, and we'll see you in the new year.
Yay! I'm so excited. Bye, friends.
Gaslighting sucks.